Hey everyone, very special podcast this week. I was the guest on the For Ref's Sake podcast, which is run by a couple grassroots referees out of England, and we had a phenomenal conversation. I mean, it just ranged all sorts of different topics. This is actually part 2 of our conversation because we've covered so much ground. We had to break it into 2 parts. I think you will really enjoy. Definitely check out their podcast and subscribe if you haven't already, but I think you'll like this one. I mean, we talked about, yes, the beginning of this channel and how it started and what's going on right now, and the fact that I'm now a FIFA, TikTok collaborator, commentator, correspondent, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be really crazy for the next couple months of my life. But, you know, they also asked me about some of my fears and concerns about whether or not this will be a success as a World Cup. And again, I think the product on the field is going to be good. Trust me, as we get to the later rounds, it's going to be great. It's going to be magical, just like every World Cup is. But getting there are going to be a bunch of empty stadiums. There are still a lot of concerns about ticket prices, and getting to the US right now is difficult. It's expensive. You know, there's an energy shortage and all throughout the rest of the world outside of the US right now, in Europe and Asia. Africa, if you want to come to this country right now, in some places you need to put up a $15,000 bond to get a visa. You know, Congo is in the World Cup. How many people from Congo do you think we're letting in if this Ebola outbreak that's currently happening over there spreads? Probably none. So you are going to see some empty stadiums. And there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, yes, it's kind of a geopolitical thing and people's thoughts about America this day and age. You know, again, I want to assure you guys, I am a very proud American. I'm wearing my USA jersey today because I'm going to our National Training Center today to go watch a match over there for one of our extended teams and take a tour of the space. Really proud of US, love our US national team. But yeah, there are concerns, and I think we should appreciate how the rest of the world views us and how that's going to affect the World Cup. That's not political, that's reality. Now, going forward, Father's Day is in about 3 weeks, and if you're a dad or you know someone who's a dad who's a referee, please, please, please direct them to the refsneedlove2.com store online. That helps pay for this podcast. That's right. It costs money. These microphones, these fees that I pay for the software to be able to do all the editing and posting and hosting cost a lot of money. So please go to the store. All that money gets invested back into this channel and making it possible. I've actually hired a full-time, on contract, a social media manager for a couple months, helping me through this crazy World Cup stage. I'd like to keep her on board long time. You know, if you guys would buy more, I could. That would be great. I could create more content and actually have more of a life. That would be wonderful. But if you haven't gotten the USSF 2-stripe grip socks, check those out. I got fun ref socks as well, which is a great gift. So much fun. I've updated the scorecards to now have a penalty kick tracker on the back of that. You know, you've got my red and yellow cards with the pregame checklist on it. There's merch. You could have Refs Need Love too, like underlayers and stuff, which would be so awesome and so cool. Again, whistle, you name it, the buzzer flags if you're going to be doing college matches this year, so much stuff. If you want to get new shoes, Umpiro, you know, go to officialsports.com, use the code RefsNeedLove2 for 10% off there. If you're looking for comms, oh my gosh, go to spinso.com, check out their new ref comms. They're outrageous, amazing. Again, use code RefsNeedLove2 for 10% off of those. I mean, there's so many ways that you can save. If you're on my website at RefLove26, all caps, REFLOVE 26 for 10% off on the website. Please, please check it out. And very lastly, if you're an assigner, please, Refer Sports, reach out to them and tell them I sent you. You will not be disappointed. Their platform is like literally leap years beyond everything else out there. You're doing a disservice to your referees if you're not using Refer Sports as an assigning platform because it is best in class. All right, guys, enough from me. I love you. I wish you well. I am going to be out of town the week before a Father's Day, so don't wait to place orders then. Please get them placed this weekend or next so that I can get you your products or products for whoever you're giving them to by Father's Day. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
So we promised you 2 weeks ago that he would be back. We're holding him hostage, metaphorically and digitally. I think Luke's Wi-Fi is working better now. David, welcome back to our show. Last time we spoke about the system, I suppose, in America and the opportunities to progress. But I wanted to talk to you about your love for the game, your sideline, your the efforts that you put into helping referees across the world and how it's grown into a global refereeing phenomenon. So last time we spoke, you told us you've done 500 games with your son, 1,500 games plus that you've refereed. Why did you then go into this social media? Is it a business? Would you say it is a business now? Is it becoming that way? What do you think? Come on, let's tell us how you got into it.
It became a business. It started as a complete joke. I mean, that's a straight, honest truth. The first video I ever posted was my wife needed a costume for a movie she was an extra in, and she needed some costume, and it needed to be non-branded. And I was like, oh, you can wear my ref uniform. And she was in our bathroom, and she had my flags, and I was like, oh, show me offside, show me throw in, all that, whatever it was. And she just started doing like the flag moves. I thought it was funny. I started videoing her, and my daughter and son at that time had been onto TikTok, and I just thought it was a funny video. And so, I don't know, whatever. I took it. It was my first post ever onto TikTok. I post it. We wake up the next morning, and it's got like 50,000 views. And then like 3 days later, it's got like 500,000 views, and it went viral. And I was like, oh, this is fun. I mean, my day job at that time was I was a marketer. So I had like done like creative branding and marketing for like big global, like $1 billion companies. But at that moment in my life, right, just like right in the teeth of COVID, I was really struggling. I was really, really struggling creatively, like in the company culture I was in. It was tough times, right? Like you remember those COVID days. I mean, there was layoffs constantly, and I had a team of 17. I went down to a team of 5. I wasn't getting funding and investment. So I post this video, and all of a sudden it like booms, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I'm going to do some other funny videos. And so I literally just started doing like everything I would want to say back to a coach or a player on the pitch. I started doing like these funny like videos, like acting this stuff out, and my family was involved. My kids would be in the video. My wife would be in the video, and it was like fun. And then about like 2-3 weeks in, I get a comment from a kid, a young teenager, was like, hey, I was just racially abused. I don't know what to do. So I told you a couple of weeks ago about how little support there is for referees in America, right? Like you don't have like a county group you get together with every month and watch videos. You just come to the field and you go home. You come to the field and you go home. And it's a very isolating experience. And when you have a traumatic experience, whether you've experienced dissent, you've been threatened with assault, you've been assaulted, there's no one for you. So I posted a video replying to this one kid, and then that next video, someone's like, hey, I just had this happen to me. I don't know what to do. What do I do? And so very quickly, what began as a joke started to become this community where now I've got referees who could ask me questions, because I had about 5 or 6 years of experience at that point. And I could talk about laws of the game, and I could, encourage other people to be refs. Well, then I would start getting coaches and players starting to send me videos and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Because, normally we tell people, don't talk to the ref. Don't talk to the ref. Like, don't say anything, because no one can be like human and nice anymore. And so I started to becoming a resource for players and coaches, and then parents who are bringing their kids. They wanted to know. And so all of a sudden, like what started as totally a joke, like straight up, this is going to be humorous. Very quickly, I started to find that there was this massive gap. There was a communication gap, and this whole history of officials never talking to the public, never having a public profile, not being someone you could have a conversation with. It's just not realistic anymore. It just doesn't work. I think people need to know that we're human. I think people need to know that the laws of the game are very subjective and open to opinion and interpretation. And they need to see these things and have this kind of conversation. That is better for everyone. And so I just saw it was kind of an open gap, almost 5 years ago when I started, and I just kind of fell into it, and it became a creative outlet. And I would just do a new video every day. I'd respond to every single question. And now it has boomed to 325,000 plus followers around the world. My podcast was downloaded in 105 countries last year. It's a retail business. I do consulting gigs. I do speaking gigs. It's turned into something that's just beyond my wildest imagination.
Luke, that's where we're going wrong with our algorithm. Somewhere we're not. We're posting stuff out here. Where are we going wrong? Is it because it's? I don't know. We can't keep everybody happy. We spoke as well. I mean, we love getting involved with people like yourself. We're very lucky that you've come onto our podcast, and I mean that. And we love Mike from the referee circle. I'm sure you've spoken to him as well. What a great guy he is. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we had David last week, or a few weeks ago, who was spoke through his story. And at the moment, refereeing is kind of like, I don't use the term big business, but the profile of it is so high. I mean, I'm sure when Luke and I record, there's always a million incidents in Premier League that have happened over the weekend. Do you find that like most of your followers are from America, or have you got kind of like a big band of people across the world now? Because as you said 5 years ago, what you were producing was unique. What was your thoughts around that?
Yeah, it's very international. I mean, as you can imagine, it's a global game, right? And so I'm also very open and approachable. So, I've got a contact me button which is, on Facebook. You can do that. I have my WhatsApp on there. I'll get people who reach out to me from Zambia, from Ghana, from Nepal, and I respond to every single one. I mean, that's something that's been a really big thing for me, is I try and make sure everyone feels appreciated and validated. One thing that is really big for me in my approach to things is I try and take a teacher's heart and educator's mindset, right? There's always going to be love in my heart. Even if I disagree with another referee's decision, I'm not going to say, oh, that person effed up, or they made a horrible call. I'd be like, let's look at this together. Let's look at where they were on the pitch. I wonder if maybe they saw X, Y, and Z, and maybe that's why they made this decision. Here, let's take a look at laws of the game. What are the considerations? If we had the benefit of video review, seeing what we have now, would we come up with a different decision? And, I try and always approach things with a very, open mind and educator's heart. And that's what I want spectators to do. That's what I want coaches to do. That's what I want players to do. And that's what I want referees to do, to always be learning, to be open to the possibility that referees might make mistakes. Or maybe, most people just don't understand, what considerations that these referees are using to make a determination between denial of obvious goal scoring opportunity or stopping a promising attack, or, serious foul play versus, a reckless challenge, or whatever it might be. It's always just about trying to educate and make sure that everyone feels part of the community. That's the big thing I focus on. So I try my best to stay away from clickbait type things. Every now and then I just get so fired up about something. I'm like, okay, I have to post it. I try so hard not to post anything Barcelona or Real Madrid anymore, even though it gets by far the most views and the most clicks, just because I'm so freaking over. Like every single time Real Madrid loses, or every single time Barcelona loses, it's got to be the referee's fault, right? It's got to be the referee's fault. The referee made an error. It's just like, dude, you took 25 shots on goal. Come on. You only got 6 on target. It's like, okay, come on. You guys could have done a little bit better too. So I try to stay away from clickbait, and I try and focus on things that are borderline decisions and that I think might be educational. And that's just where I focus. It's where I give my time.
Sounds like watching Middlesbrough. I mean, I don't know if Middlesbrough have ever been in the same sentence as Real Madrid, although we did sign a player from them once, I think. And we've had lots of shots, but I still blame Jared Gillett last week for that penalty.
Oh, Jared's a great referee, dude.
Yeah,
Jared's a great referee. Let me tell you, in my top 5 referees, right, Jared Gillett is definitely up there, man.
Right, and that was the end of the podcast after 10 minutes this week.
Come on. I'm a big fan. Hey, listen, everyone makes mistakes. Now, I didn't see the Middlesbrough match last week, and maybe he made a decision that you don't agree with.
David, it wasn't a mistake.
It was.
He's pretty fantastic.
It wasn't a mistake.
I'm having a hot flushy of what you've just said. Totally put me off my next thing. So the question I've got next is, how? Because Luke and I, and luckily we've got Rob who's listening in and does some of our social media now. How do you keep up with everything? I mean, how do you post content on such a regular basis and really increase that engagement? I love the fact you answered recently, in a few minutes ago, of wanting, to support referees, but how do you keep up with it? Are you a one-man band?
I am almost completely a one-man band. Every post that I do right now is completely me. It's, people send me, I get 30, 40 videos every single day sent to me around the world. The majority of the ones that I receive is just like, very things that I'm like, dude, no one can tell from this video. Like, we're like, was it offside? I'm like, dude, I don't know. It's like you're giving me something like a horrible resolution for a horrendous angle. I have no idea. It's like, was this a foul? I'm like, maybe. But every now and then I get stuff where I'm like, oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, okay, I can post that. But in terms of like my post, it's all me. The retail business, which has been really cool. I mean, I created like these very unique scorecards. I have my red and yellow cards have a pregame checklist on them. I created these amazing like grip socks specifically for referees that took me like 2 years to engineer. So I created a retail business, and that's been booming, like absolutely booming. It doubled year over year last year. It's going to double year over year this year. And it's just me and my wife. That's it, out of our home office. The podcast, again, it's me. And that's actually the only area where I do have help right now, is the long form podcast editing for YouTube. It's a different skill set than doing short form stuff on my phone for social media. That stuff is just me, just figuring it out. I don't know. I mean, I have to tell you, it's like I work like probably 80 to 90 hours a week right now, but I'm having so much fun. It doesn't feel like work. I'm reffing a ton too, and I love refereeing. So I have a great outlet. Like, I have a great hobby. I have an extremely supportive family and friend network around me. I don't know. I mean, life is good. I'm getting to do what I love, and I'm getting to do it for work. So it's like, I mean, I think a lot of people would love to have that situation. Before we hopped on the pod, I mean, I'll tell you, when I started this podcast or the whole channel 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, our goal, my son and I was like, man, if we can get World Cup tickets in 2024, that would be ultimate. And this World Cup, I am being paid full flight, hotel, per diem to go to 6 matches. I've got, just a wonderful opportunity ahead, through this World Cup. It's a lot of fun. So no, I'm, finding time, it's difficult right now. I'll just be very honest. I am looking for help in a couple particular areas. I just haven't found the right partner yet, because it's so personal to me. But man, I tell you, I think a lot of people would love to be in the position I am. So I don't lament it. I'm not sad about it. I just, I'm trying as hard as I can to keep up.
And alongside all of that, am I right in thinking that you had a part to play in developing the USSF referee abuse policy or support? I can't remember the exact wording, but the policy behind all of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. Yeah. So I interviewed for the job Carrie has, the VP of referees. And by the way, Carrie Seitz is like literally 100 times more qualified than I am. And I'm so glad she got the job. She's phenomenal. I cannot say enough amazing things about Carrie. Okay. So she refereed at 4 World Cups, at 4 Olympics. Like, she worked for FIFA before she took the job here in the US. She is phenomenal, unbelievable, perfect person for the job. But, my thing is grassroots. Like, again, I'm focused on that other 99%. And so I stayed close to her. And then, so she got the job, I think, in like March of 2024. And then, we emailed a couple times, and then we got together in October of 2024, and we sat down for lunch, and she's like, hey, I've got something that I'd love to do. I need help. And previously we had a referee abuse policy in the United States, but it was like a paper, paper PDF text document that no one had ever read and had no one understood it or anything like that. And so, yeah, she hired me, and my creative partner, a guy I do a lot of creative partner work with. And we developed like all of the animations and all of the videos and all the landing page and the PowerPoints and the email campaign and every single, if you've seen those videos, and they are phenomenal, these really cool animations going through all the different levels of referee abuse, from, you know, the verbal to physical. Every single action that you see the referees in those videos, like where someone like hitting someone or throwing someone or being scared, that is me in my basement acting that out. And then the animators like doing that scene. So I got to work on the scripts. I got to put together all of the videos. It was fantastic. And we just released actually a new update to those specifically. So again, we created all of the tools to communicate the policy, which was viewed millions upon millions of times, not only here in the US, but all around the world. But the next thing that we did is we created a whole new set of animations teaching referees how to differentiate between atmosphere at a match, emotional outbursts, and then dissent. And then what we call, the acronym we use here is called off at a bus, which is offensive and insulting language. Some would say abusive language, if you will, in the laws of the game. But how to teach them how to recognize that, and then how to take action. What words can you use? What body language can you use? How to show the card? How much distance do you need to show the card? All of those types of things, so that we can not only teach people, again, hey, be safe out there. If you hear these things, recognize that's a send-off offense, or that's, worthy of a card, a caution, and then how to take action on that. So it's been great. I mean, it's wonderful. It's like a blast. I mean, U.S. Soccer is literally headquarters 5 miles from my house now, with a brand new national training center is 5 miles from my house. And I have a great relationship with the people over at U.S. Soccer, and I hope I get to work on more stuff for them. But again, it's like, I've not been a professional ref. I'm never going to ref at a World Cup. I'm in my 50s, right? But what I do get, and what I live every single week, is the life of a grassroots referee, is a Sunday league referee, is being on your own and showing up to the pitch and being in those situations, that are challenging, that are tough, whether it's with a spectator, with a coach or a manager and a player. And I have been, threatened with assault, and I had, been like locked in a locker room waiting for a police escort to my car. Like, I've been there, man. I've seen friends get assaulted. Like, I've lived that. And so that's the stuff I'm focused on, and how I can add value to my country.
You're a very passionate man. You're a very passionate man about that, which I mean, it comes across very, very clearly in the podcast. So in terms of like football or soccer, I mean, would you call it football or soccer? I mean, I don't want to insult you.
Hey, listen, it's interchangeable. Here in this country, yes, the number one sport in our country, the NFL, is known as football. Mm-hmm. But certainly, I'm a student of the global game. I would also refer to it as football.
So is the World Cup, which is obviously taking place mostly in America, amongst other countries, is that a big thing? Are people excited for it? I know we've got our own Stuart Burt going across, and Stuart loves a name check on this podcast. Is it exciting? Are people excited about this, this biggest tournament ever coming across the pond?
I think we're very concerned. I'm just going to be very honest and transparent and raw and real about that. If you are a soccer fan or a football fan in this country, you understand that this is a global game. And we would love for this country, I mean, the average football fan here in the United States would love to openly welcome people from all around the world with open arms. Unfortunately, the political climate in this country and the reality of what's going on in the world, with the United States is deeply unpopular. Even with our own country, our president and Congress, I think, is at a 38 or 36% approval rating. Around the world, countries around the world. I mean, I think there was 150,000 Dutch people who have signed a petition asking, the Dutch to boycott the World Cup. Just being able to come here. You talk about opening up to the world. I think right now, if you're trying to come from Africa, if you want to come from Tunisia to come watch a match in the United States, you've got to post a $15,000 bond and have your social media be vetted, by our authorities in the US to even just get a visa to come here. I mean, I'm hearing really concerning news from major hotel operators and the cities who are the host cities, very concerned about low hotel numbers, low hospitality booking right now for these events. Our own opening match, the United States versus Paraguay, is not sold out right now. That is extremely concerning. Extremely concerning. So I am, I'd like to say I'm like enthusiastic and so excited to have this happen. But I fear, because of what's been going on politically in our country and how we've been, and I say we collectively, like the United States, like, I'm proud to be an American and I'm not proud of all the things America does. I think we collectively are not our best selves right now. And I think there's a lot of people around the world who are probably like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go through that. I'm not going to spend that money in the US right now. Yeah, I'd love to see my team compete, but I just can't swing it, or I don't want to swing it and come here to the US. So I'm afraid we're going to see, it's an expanded World Cup, right? From 32 to or 32 to 48 teams. I think you've got a lot of teams coming here with very small followings already. I fear we're going to see a lot of big, cavernous 80,000 person stadiums with 15,000 people in attendance. That's my fear. I mean, I'm sure as we get late in the World Cup and people get used to the outrageous heat and humidity that we have here over the summers in Florida and New Jersey, and I think we're going to have some great games, hopefully. But I'm very concerned that there's going to be a relatively low average attendance, and that the fan fests are not going to be what you would normally expect at World Cups around the world.
I mean, it's a very British thing, David, to be honest with you, because we don't hear that in our media as such right now. I think that's fair to say, Luke. What we hear a lot about is the I suppose you call it exploitation of transport systems and the costs, which are and the cost of tickets has been a big thing. But the thing that you were saying there about, obviously, there's a lot of tension around the world, but we haven't heard lots of news around those low attendances. You know what English people are like? They're like, yeah, what time's the England game on? Oh, 11 o'clock at night. We'll be in the pub. Let's make sure the pub's open. That's what we're worried about. So, Luke, I don't know. It's quite interesting, isn't it, to hear the I suppose, on the ground level of the concerns of the American people, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I think that like you say, the outrage in this country at the minute is more around the ticket prices and actually I think the barriers that most fans are seeing from our perspective is more around not so much now, but like I was one that was in the camp of and we had a group of friends that were thinking, do we go, do we not go? But it was more the logistics of it, the sheer scale of the competition and the fact that games are because we had a group of friends that went to the Euros, and you could jump on a train between the host cities and or the host stadiums, and that was ideal. Whereas it's a completely different setup, isn't it? And the whole scale of the organisation is just a massive barrier as well. And that's kind of the conversation this side of the pond. There's certainly been no concern raised about stadiums potentially not being full and those types of things. It's more how much the tickets are costing and the logistics behind all of that.
Well, here's the good news. Okay. If you want to look, I'm always a glass half full kind of guy. Okay. So I think housing costs are going to come down and start becoming much more reasonable because of the low attendance numbers that are coming. I think ticket costs are going to crater. I think you're going to have a lot of last minute tickets available. So if you are thinking of coming and, just, hey, if we get to the Fan Fest, great, we're going to be here and be part of the magic. But if we get a ticket, that's great. I actually think those people are going to find a lot of tickets available at a much more reasonable cost and find housing to be much more reasonable as well. So I would encourage people, if this, again, Americans, is not the American government, right? And if you're not, and being sincere, like, again, I'm very proud to be American, and you're not going to find a more, welcoming and nice person. And all of my the people that I know and the people that I see, and I travel across this country every single week, are 99% of them are wonderful, kind, loving people. If you come to this country, I promise you, you will have a good experience and you will be met with lovely, gracious, happy, people that you are here. So don't confuse what you see happening in the American government with the American people. It's a different thing. It's a totally different thing. Additionally, because of the challenges of getting to the United States right now, and the cost of flights and housing and those tickets that has been outrageously, priced to outrageous levels, I think there's going to be a lot of scalpers, who bought up large swaths of tickets, who are going to be trying to unload those tickets at very much more reasonable prices as we get closer. So please come. Come on down. I mean, honestly, we do have some beautiful stadiums to go see. I mean, here in Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz is but world class. I mean, insane, and it's right in downtown. It's a wonderful experience. I mean, we do have some stadiums that are easy to get to, that are on mass transit. That would be beautiful places to come vacation during the summertime. So please, come on down. Have fun. Bring your sunscreen. You're going to need it. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be humid.
I'm out. I can't do it, David. I'm out.
Man, I just want everyone to know, please come. We'd love to have you here. It should be a good time, but I am concerned at this time. That would be my honest truth.
Are you as concerned as Luke would be in February in England when the maximum temperature is about 8 degrees and you've got a suntan at the end of a referee's course?
I don't know, man. I tell you, 8 degrees. I tell you, that's the thing about England. I grew up in New York, and I went to university up on Lake Ontario. So I have lived, wet and cold for a good portion of my life. I have no desire to go back to that.
Have you ever been to England? Have you ever been to England?
I have.
Yeah,
I have. I used to live in the Netherlands, so I traveled, and I was responsible for Europe, Middle East, Africa. So when my family and we moved to the Netherlands, I think we landed on a Tuesday, and I was in Paris on Thursday, and then the next Tuesday I was in London. So I've been to England, gosh, I don't know, 15 times, 20 times in my life, and we've done vacation over there too. So yeah, no, I'm very familiar, and I've traveled around. I've had the extremes of going to Old Trafford and then all the way to Craven Cottage. So I have definitely had quite good English football experiences.
What's your favourite part of England that you've been to? Apart from London, come on.
Yeah, no. Let's be honest. I tell you, I'm gonna tell you, this is such a random, like a really small reference. But when I worked over there, we had a manufacturing facility in a place called Shelf, which is in Yorkshire. And I used to stay at this wonderful little pub and inn called the Shibden Inn. And man, it was just so idyllic. It was like 500 years old with a little creek running next to it. And you could just walk through the countryside. And it was just the most peaceful, wonderful experience. I mean, I've spent my time in Manchester. I've spent some time over in Birmingham. I've even been down on the South Coast as well in Brighton. I love London. So I've been, I've had a good experience. I've been up to Teesside, towards Newcastle. I have lived it.
No, David, that's not Teesside. Newcastle's that's on the outer reaches. We don't go to Teesside. Teesside is the industrial hub.
I have lived it, man. I have done a proper English tour. I've been to Leeds. I've been all over England, man. I really have. So and again, lovely country, lovely people. Unfortunately, my sense of humor is. I will just say this again. I'm a little too enthusiastic. For England. I mean, listen, throughout my life, I'm an enthusiastic person in general. I give a lot of energy, a lot of love, a lot of positivity, all that kind of stuff. England, I'm a little bit too much. They don't know, okay, is that real? Is that sincere? Yeah, no, this is really me. So I had to learn how to just tone it back a little, just pull it back.
Right, there's a problem. David, I'm going to just educate you here for a second. So as you were talking about Yorkshire, so northern people like myself, very friendly. They're very welcoming, very friendly. Go down south, not so friendly. a bit questioning of people who talk. I mean, if you went on a tube in London, for example,
I've been on the tube many times. Yes,
don't talk to anybody because they think you're going to mug them. Basically,
listen. Again, I grew up in New York City, so I grew up in New York City. I lived there till I was 22. So I have that within me. You know, I understand big city life, and I understand. You know, don't look at anyone. If you talk to someone, they think you're setting them up to mug them or rob them or something. Like I get that. Like I've lived that part of my life, but I've also lived the last almost 25 years, 27 years in Georgia in the Southeast United States, where everyone is like, hey, you know, like, how you doing? You know, bless your heart. Like everyone's so sweet and so nice. So I can do that dance. Yeah. I understand both of those worlds, and I understand why both of them are like that. So yes, no, I appreciate it.
What's your favorite English accent?
Oh, that is tough. It is really, really, really tough. I'm not going to weigh in this. I don't try and like elicit like hate mail. So
Okay.
I'm just going to pass on this question. I mean, there are some accents I'm like, I'm not a fan of that one because I just don't understand what the hell they're saying. But I'm just not going to weigh in because I guarantee hate mail would be incoming.
Right. I mean, you know, you've reached and you're successful when you get hate mail. We're just getting our first bits of hate mail coming through social media. But anyway, final totally irrelevant question I want to ask you about England is the English Shakespearean. We were at Stratford a few weeks ago. Do you have any favourite English sayings? I know I called you mate a lot when I was first contacting you. Like we just call everyone mate. We don't even know who they are. Right, mate, how you doing?
I hear you.
What's your favourite English sayings? Come on.
I still to this day, like I think I understand. I'm pretty sure I know what it means, but I just don't know the origin of the phrase "taking a piss." Like, what you're taking a piss? Like, what are you talking about? Like that is the most ridiculous saying. Like serious. Like what do you mean I'm taking a piss, man? Like that makes no sense to me. Like if someone were to say that to me on the pitch, like Ref, you're taking a piss. I'm like, dude, what? Like what? Like shut up. What are you talking about, man? Like that one is just so asinine to me. It makes no sense. There's no alliteration that I can find where that would make like I know what it means. Like, are you kidding? Are you joking or something like that? Like I get that, but how that gets from taking a piss makes no sense to me.
It's a fair point.
I mean, it is a fair point. I mean, we have some great English sayings like, have you ever heard of being thrown under the bus? You heard that one?
Of course.
Yeah. What's the other good English sayings? I mean, they're all Shakespearean. We have to keep it clean on this podcast. It's interesting. There is some idioms that we come out with that's, you know, they're just English things that we say, which are really quite odd. The one that you just said is, you know, a fine example. And I think Jared Gillett was absolutely doing that a few weeks ago.
I did a skit. Like I did, you know, because I had like these things I was doing where I would do like, you know, the top, you know, 4 things, you know, spectators would say or something like that. I forget what I called it, but I did one, like I did the top 5 things that people say to English referees or something like that. And I mean, I elicited it, like I got feedback from like friends of the channel, like send me these. And so I know there are specific ones. It's been a couple of years. I'll have to send that one to you. It's good humor, but man, I just, again, I'm very sensitive to, you know, try and be a student of the world, try and be respectful of every culture and every language and every tradition. And people, you know, like to say, oh, you would never handle it in, you know, English Sunday League. It's like, you know, listen, dude, there are grown ass babies who play football over here too that I have to deal with. They just use different words. Okay. They don't say taking a piss, but they're like, hey, are you effing kidding me? That's what they might say. You know, I mean, trust me, I deal with that kind of stuff too. It's a global game, and there are, you know, people who behave badly in every part of the world.
Right. Luke, we need to move on from my stupid questions, really, because it's not my cup of tea, really, that those kind of things. And let's talk about refereeing. So I was talking to a club chairman today, and a very nice person, very supportive of referees, and I just asked him a simple question, really. I was like, what do you feel makes a good referee? So I'm going to put back the question onto you. In your experience, in your role within refereeing and with your social media presence, what do you think would make, or what does make a good referee?
Yeah, for me, I have 4 tenets that I look for in a great referee. Number 1, integrity, right? You're looking for people who, their word is oak, like they are trustworthy, they are stand-up people. They've got integrity. Number 2, they've got courage. They've got courage to use that integrity, right? So they're courageous people. They're comfortable standing in front of others, communicating with others, and making a decision. That's important. The third thing I would say is, you've got to have some degree of a willingness to learn, of being able to reflect and being able to study the laws of the game, right? You have to be open to new information. You have to seek new information. And then you really have to love the game. Like, you have got to love this game at a deep, deep, deep level. If you are not as passionate about the game as the players and the managers and the spectators are as the game, they will smell it. They can sense it on you, and you will struggle. There is nothing worse than a referee who doesn't care or doesn't put in effort, doesn't seem to match the intensity level, in terms of the work rate of what everyone else is doing out there on the pitch. Okay, that is a serious, serious problem. So those are kind of the 4 things that kind of make up a great referee to me. And because, and I don't want to say fitness, right? Because fitness, there's a game for everyone. If it's a U8 or U10 recreational match, man, you don't need to be that fit. You can walk a little bit up and down the pitch and you'll be perfectly fine. If you're doing a Sunday league adult amateur, really, semi-pro, yeah, you got to be really fit. But if you don't have those other 4 things, again, integrity, courage, a willingness to learn and study the game, be a student of the game, and a love for the game, you're going to really struggle as a referee.
It goes back a bit full circle, really. What you were saying there, I was listening to about you're talking about passion for the game. And I think sometimes that's what's missing with some referees, because you can, as we were talking about earlier, or it might be in the previous podcast, where we were talking about the majority of our match officials who are training are young referees. And sometimes that doesn't transfer, and I don't know if that's through a lack of knowledge or a lack of application to their mindset when refereeing. Do you know where I'm coming from here? So if you don't care enough, they're just going to stand there, and we talk a lot about they're being paid a relatively good fee in terms of an hour's work over here for a 14-year-old would be £25 to £30. There's not many jobs where you're getting paid that much money. So yeah, I think that point you've made there is really, really interesting.
Brother, they don't know how good they have it. Like, honestly, they haven't loved and lost yet. They still get to go run around with their friends and go play football on the pitch whenever they want at night. Some weekends they get to play on a team, and they're getting to referee too. They've got so many wonderful things happening for them in many of their lives. They don't appreciate what they got. I will tell you, every single time I walk from the sideline to the center of that pitch with my 2 ARs by my side, I stop and I turn to them as we're saying, all right, 45s, whatever, 40s, and we're about to kick off. And I just tell them, I am so grateful to be here with you today. I so appreciate this moment that we have this opportunity to be here together. Let's have a great game. I say it every single time. And I get emotional talking about it because I know I'm in my 50s. Like, I know that I have a limited amount of time to do this, in my life, to be able to do this at these higher competitive levels. And I'm so freaking grateful. Dude, at 14, you're not grateful for shit for the most of the time you're a teenager. I mean, some people are. Some people have that perspective. But the overwhelming, hey, if I earn this money, great. If I don't earn this money, no big deal. Like, they don't appreciate how special it is that they're getting to do what they're getting to do at that time. It's just whatever. It's a job. If I don't do this job, maybe I'll do another job. I don't think they appreciate how wonderful it is to have that opportunity to be able to run around, to have fun, to be in the middle of the action, to be able to participate in the game like we get to participate and to get paid for that too. is so freaking cool, but they don't have enough perspective to appreciate it yet.
I also think that perspective is scalable up in our system in particular to those referees that are operating kind of in the semi-professional game, level 4s, level 3s, as we would call them, because they get so hung up on kind of the desire to get promoted and progress through the levels that actually they forget to appreciate the games that they're actually refereeing, because they're just desperate to get to that next level. And that's that same appreciation is, not having that appreciation and having that mindset of just being desperate to get to the next level can be equally as dangerous in those environments. And I think it's a really good point that everybody can learn from, is actually, when you're leading those teams out of the tunnel and you're doing that handshake, and you're taking in those final moments before you blow the first whistle. That's the type of thing that you should be appreciating. You should be happy to be there. You should be grateful that you've got to the level that you're at, and let's just deliver a really safe and good performance on that game before we start worrying about potentially what level we're going to be refereeing next season, or what game we've got next week, etc., etc.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, last weekend, so we were doing our state cup finals in California. And I saw a referee, is a great referee. I mean, this guy's a great ref. Like, I had seen him earlier in the day on another match. He looked fantastic. And then I caught him on a late match in the afternoon, and it's hot. It's 85 degrees on turf. So again, we're talking like 28, 29 Celsius on turf. So it feels like 100. It's hot out there, no doubt. But it was a less challenging match. And I caught him like standing still and just like kind of turning and on the spot, like watching the play happen, as opposed to opening his body up, using good movement, scanning the field, anticipating where the ball is going to be next. He got lazy. Every single match, no matter what level it is, we can be working on the fundamentals that we need to get to that next level. I mean, and also I would say too, give some freaking respect to the game that you're on. I mean, I had a couple of games this year. I totally did not, expect this, but I wound up getting assigned 3 U10 matches. I have not worked U10 in literally like 7 or 8 years, U10, okay? And 3, I think they were girls, 3 U10 girls, these cute, wonderful girls. They were so adorable. I had so much fun, but I gave them every bit of energy and effort that I could. Now, the energy and effort on that game is different from a semi-professional match, right? The energy and effort on that semi-professional match is like, running, 50 yards to be there on a key, reckless challenge in the corner, and making sure I'm there and breaking it up before people come in and start fighting. The energy and effort on a U10 match is education, right? It's keeping it positive. It's being supportive. It's teaching them the laws of the game. It's, helping them understand what is fair and what is foul and things of that nature, but that is, showing respect to the game, right? And so I'm giving my all every single time, no matter where I am. And even if it's a less competitive match, okay, and we're dealing with maybe 16-year-olds or something of nature, and maybe the level of play is not highly technical, you can still be working on your fundamentals. Scan. Where should you be right now? Where's play going next? How can you shape your body to make sure that you can see the play and see your assistant referee? Are your mechanics crisp? Are the words you're using the right words? Every single match, you can get a little bit better. And that's what I'm looking for out of the referees that are going to get to the next level.
Luke, we can clip those bits out and then use them at our next CPD events, and we don't have to do any work, because I think...
I'm not sure that's the right attitude after that statement, Wayne, to be fair.
But seriously, I think sometimes we forget that mantra of... Sometimes people will be disappointed with the appointments that they get. Sometimes people will kind of question, why am I doing this game? But, as you've just said, lucky, it's not lucky, is it? It's just being given an opportunity. And, we were talking, as we said earlier, to David last week. He was, he's going through a strong process of his desire. And I know we got a lot of good feedback on this. His desire to get back to where he was is phenomenal. Your message there is outrageous in terms of, have we forgot, or do we forget sometimes how lucky or how much we want to be in that position. I mean, talking about, I've just come away from a couple of days of cup finals. I wasn't refereeing them. I kind of administrated a lot of it, and the passion of the players needs to be matched by the passion of the officials.
Yes. Now how we show that passion is very different, right? Right. So like, there's some players out there who are going to show that passion, and they might show it in negative ways, and they might be over the top, and they're trying to fire up their team. Now we need to stay composed and have this outward calm on us, right? Because we are that island in a storm, right? We are, that anchor point that you can come back to, and hey, okay, the ref's staying cool here. Okay, we can cool down. He's got to get everyone back under control. But again, that energy and effort and passion and commitment, right? And that willingness to make that call, to make that strong, decision, you got to have it. You've got to have that love for the game. And I tell you, that energy and effort and commitment and passion, it will enable you to sell that difficult call. It will enable you to get that buy-in from the team captain and from the manager. It'll help you manage through difficult situations in the match. If you come off as flippant and you are just like disassociated and you're just showing up, and again, it looks like you're just showing up for a paycheck, okay, and people can smell that on you, you are going to have a very difficult day on the pitch. If you are in it and you show a love for the game and an appreciation for the game, and again, just love being out there, you're going to find a lot of love coming back to you too. I'm a big believer, you get back what you give.
And I think this is such a relevant conversation for this time of year as well, particularly cup final season, and obviously referees with one eye on promotion potentially. And whilst it's a great time of year for those referees that are appointed to those fixtures and have those promotions confirmed or whatever, equally, we sometimes we forget the ones that are dealing with the disappointment of perhaps not receiving the appointment that they thought they deserved, or not receiving the news of the promotion that they thought they deserved. But I guess it is still really relevant. The point you're making is that doesn't make the work that you've done this season a waste of time. It doesn't mean that you should appreciate the games that you've done this season any less just because you haven't necessarily maybe met the goal that you set at the start of the season, or things like that. It's actually still appreciate what you've done, still appreciate where you are, and the joy that you've got out of what you've done this season, I guess, despite the disappointment.
Absolutely. Every day is an opportunity to grow. Every day is an opportunity to get better. And again, whether it's on the pitch or off, it's a journey that we're on. And as a referee, every game, I swear there's not a game that I walk off of where I, maybe like, maybe I can do this differently next time, or I've never seen that before. There's always opportunities for growth. And I tell you, like, even as a mentor now, right? Because now I'm in my 50s and I'm on the backside of, the level of matches that I can do. I spend time sitting next to the best coaches that I can find. And I just sit there and I listen and I take notes and I ask questions, and I want to see what they're looking for and how they explain things, because that makes me a better ref, but it makes me a better teacher too. You can always, improve. You could always improve. And again, there's disappointment, that you maybe get a promotion this time, but, figure out what you need to work on. Find a mentor, find someone you can get on their crew who does a great job at that, and watch them, watch their videos, sit down with them and see what they're doing so that you can get to where you want to be. But I just appreciate where you are. Wishing you were someone else is wasting the person that you are. Wishing you were someone else is wasting the person that you are. Be appreciative for what you have and where you are, and be self-aware of what you need to work on and what you need to do to get there.
David, we've talked a lot. It is getting towards Luke's bedtime in England. It's past 10 o'clock. The watershed is approaching. I know you're a very busy man. I'm sure you've got lots of other things that you need to do as well. But I really hope that we hook up again next season and stay in touch. I know you are part of our referee community on WhatsApp. So yeah, stay in touch, and thank you very much for your time. And I will finish on this. Jamie Stevenson, if you're listening, David doesn't look over 50. He's a beautiful man. He looks in his 30s maximum.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Take care, mate. All the best.
Cheers, mate.
See ya.